Hey friends, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 38 of A Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. I'm excited to jump in today. Hi, welcome to whatever day you're watching this. We've got a regular podcast episode, so I will cover, for anyone new, what I'm wearing, WIPs, no finished objects this week, spinning updates and books, and some thoughts. I have some thoughts about testing I want to talk about at the end. That's what I want to talk about. I'm gonna maybe breeze through this episode a little bit because I started filming a little bit late. It's still before my work day, but I do have an early meeting and mornings are not my favorite. But it has been really nice to film these early in the day. I may have to finish up like books and stuff after lunchtime, but you'll see. Maybe my hair will be dry by then. No guarantees. But no, it's been really nice for me to get back to filming these on Thursdays so I can edit Thursday night and just get it out in the world and knit all weekend or enjoy family time, which is what we've been doing more of. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I hope that you are having an excellent day, and grab your cozy beverage of choice and your project of choice, and let's dig into what I'm wearing first, because I had to dig into the archives a little bit. This is not that old. I made this last fall. I tested this last, I finished it. What's it say here? August 27th. So it's been almost, I don't know, 8 months, whatever. What is math? And this is Allie's Sweater Light by Sarah Opie, who is S Knits on Instagram. She has a whole Allie's collection, right? So the first was like maybe the first was a DK weight sweater, and then there was a DK weight t-shirt which had the diamonds at the bottom. There's also I think the light sweater came next, and then the light t-shirt which also has the diamonds at the bottom. Anyway, it's a great little collection. Obviously the DK diamonds, since they're also in the yoke, there's a lot less of them. And they're much larger looking. So I still do want to make the DK version of this because I really enjoy wearing this and I just think it's so fun. It's like a fun kind of color work. I don't have any other color work yokes. I don't have any traditional circular color work yokes, which I've been thinking about because that's the part that's on my screen for working from home on Zoom. But I very much enjoy this kind of fun color work as well. So this is a size 5. It's 52 inches in the bust. The recommended ease is 8 to 10 inches, and I think approximately, this is a fine size for it. It's a little bit less than 8 inches, but my preferred, I don't prefer any more ease than this, generally speaking, especially for a sweater like this. I think it would have made the armhole, my armhole depth is already, my armpit is here. So it's already a little bit wide, the relaxed oversized fit, but I think any more than that would be a little bit crazy. This is made with some affordable yarn. So this is Drops Fable. The white is Drops Fable in off-white. And the purple is Montana Crochet in the color Larkspur, and it's fingering weight 75-25 is what it was. And it's bled like crazy. I think you guys remember this whole catastrophe. Maybe you don't. Maybe you didn't watch then. But yeah, I kind of dyed all around the colorwork pink. It's not super noticeable on camera. It's not super noticeable in real life. I can see it. It's definitely kind of, because I think also the white is got a bit of a yellowy tone. It is off-white. That this looks more like gray pink white than my sleeve does. Because there's so much condensed color work throughout the whole part here, it's really not that noticeable. I don't care. I wear it in public. No one's ever said anything to me. I've worn it to knit night, and in not great lighting, it looks great. So that's what we're going with. I've worn this a bunch now, so I can give you a real yarn review for the Fable. And I have more of this Fable to use in my stash. And I think my consensus here is I probably wouldn't use it on its own again, or I'd use it in something I can like truly condition a little bit more, because it's a tiny bit itchy. It's not, I guess I wouldn't say, like, it's not prickly. It's just like, it doesn't feel super soft. And I've worked with many much softer yarns now. It feels pretty hardy though for being a really lightweight yarn. So if that's your, if that's more of what you're looking for, like something a little bit harder wearing, I think this would fit the bill. It does pill. Like I've got some pills on my sleeve and underarm, but it's not very much. I've shaved it once, I think, and yeah, like it still looks really good. Stitch definition on this, not as nice as, even though it's a superwash yarn, it almost acts like a non-superwash yarn. And I talked about this a lot when I was making it, that I felt like this yarn was kind of toothy, and it is. Even after washing it and blocking it and manipulating it a little bit, like the stitches are not quite as even as I would say most of my knitting looks after blocking. So that's my review on it. It's nothing terrible. It's super affordable, like very, very affordable. I think there are some possible nitpicks yarns or others that are comparable, that are maybe a little bit softer to work with, softer to the touch. But it's a good yarn. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it. Yeah. I'm not saying I wouldn't buy it again. I'm just like, this is maybe not my favorite of Drops yarns. I have a couple others I'd like to work with this year or next year, and can give you those reviews too. I think it's nice when you wear it a little bit to see like really what you think of it. Let's talk about WIPs. So I'm going to go in project order, which is what project cast on order, which is what we've been doing lately. The only one I'm skipping this week is the Haley. I did just put it down. I put it in timeout, not because it's in timeout. It did nothing wrong. It's just got some friends that need a little bit more attention first. So I made several more flowers, some of which made it into the blanket, but some of which did not. This is my flower Vortex blanket, which is a pattern by Sanita Brenson. I just put my computer down without at all looking at her name. Yeah, Sanita Brenson, and she's Bright Bag on Instagram. So this is how it's coming. It looks great. There's no right or wrong direction. I've been putting it on the floor this direction though, just in case you were wondering, with this being up from where I'm sitting. But this, yeah, here we go. This is what we're looking at, folks. I've got 13 flowers here, I think, or 12. 13, yeah. So I have 13 flowers connected. What I'm debating now is if I want it to be, I think I'll join the 5th flower here before I do anything else, and then decide if I want it to be offset. So being that I want, instead of, like, I could add one flower here and have the rose, if I put one here and then one over here, either side, I guess, then I would have the rose kind of remain offset, or I can just do like this and then have 4, 5, 4, 5, 4. So it's all 5s or 5, 4, 5, 4. I'm not sure. I think probably I'll do this one first and then I'll lay one out here and see how I feel about it. But it's coming along great. It's, I like the color, what I've done with colors so far. I think I've got some like lights and darks and yellows and blues and purples and pinks, and yes, I will get it done. That actually, so last night I did pretty much all I did was join these flowers, and for most of the night Mike was golfing, and then he went out for a drink with his friend who he was golfing with. So I had baby, and when she went down to bed, I just like did this for a couple of hours, and I got a lot more joined than I thought I would, like all 7 of them in just like 2 hours, which, let me tell you, this is a painful outer round. I thought it was taking me like an hour to do. It's not. So that's good. This, as a reminder, is a pattern or a make that I'm making for my cousin and his little girl who's already here in the world, and that's quite all right. I do have one more baby blanket I want to make for a baby who's not here yet, but this, that child will get one after this child who's been here for a whole year. And I will send this off to Pennsylvania first. But, and I was considering casting on that other blanket. But this friend who I'm making the baby blanket for, the next one, is in Denver. And so she's closer by, and I may be visiting there this summer, so I would like to maybe drop it off for her. So I'm not in as much of a rush, I guess, is the answer. Also, her baby's not here yet, again. So I'm excited with the progress, and I am excited to just like get it done. I have almost all of the other flowers made. So if I don't do 5 for all of the rows, then I need to make like 5 more flowers. If I do, then I need to make like 8 or 9. So that's like could be a reason why I do a couple like that the less. Okay, let's go through the next cast on. So no Haley. But my next project or WIP to talk about is the Wood Anemone pullover by Nordlin, who is N on Instagram. And I am loving this so much. Okay, let's see even where it was, because I don't quite remember. But it's become my desk project, so we know how far I've gotten. I'm in the stockinette. Oh, here's my stitch. Progress Keeper. Also, I don't have a Progress Keeper on the flower one because like how am I going to do that? I'm adding from both sides, but I did have 6 flowers and now I have 13. So that's the news there. Okay. Here is where I was. So, oh, right. I had just a couple rows of yoke left. Longest rows ever. But totally fun to do also because I was at the very end, right? So I just had this tip of purl to do here and like a bunch of knitting between. So before I joined or split for sleeves and then joined the body, I think I did like 1 extra row of knitting, and it did say just like knit until whatever. But the yoke depth was supposed to be like 9.5 inches. It's not blocked. It's definitely going to stretch some more, but I was like close to 9. I wasn't even quite at 9 without like falsely stretching it a bunch. And I was like, maybe I'll do 1 row. And then I was like, this is just, it's so many stitches. I don't care. It's good. Like a yoke depth of 9 inches would fit me fine too. So I quit it. I was like, forget it. I do definitely think now that I have some body on here and it's like got weight, this is going to definitely block like nice and big. So I'm very glad to have split for sleeves. I did that over the weekend so that I would have this ready on Monday to be my desk project. I had a bunch of meetings yesterday morning, like the entire morning. I think I didn't have any breaks. So I was in meetings. And so I got quite a lot of body done. I've been doing a fair bit every day. I mean, it's Thursday. Obviously it's Thursday morning. I didn't knit on this, but I've only worked at this on my desk since splitting for sleeves, and I've gotten 4 or 5 inches of body done, so that feels very rewarding. What I will do is I'll likely just keep working on the body during work this week. Then at the end, which is today and tomorrow, but then on Saturday or Sunday, I will sew down the collar, which I said I was going to do this weekend, but really just, it didn't feel like a priority. But now that I want to try it on and put sleeves on, I do want the neck band to be sewn down. So I'm going to just keep going during the work days, sew down the neck band, and then I'm going to pick up a sleeve and give it a try on after I pick up a sleeve. That's my plan. I'll probably do like most of a sleeve and then give it a try on to see how I feel. But like body wise, I mean, I'm not anywhere near. I'm probably just a little bit under bust, which really honestly is so crazy. When you start knitting more sweaters, you're like, oh man, that's so far from being done. But I probably only have a couple more inches, and then I'll want to start doing the hem, which I'm not sure how deep the hem is. If you want, and I don't know, this is a twisted rib neckband. I don't know if the hem is twisted rib too. I don't love that, but I'll do it. I do love the effect of a twisted rib, so But yes, we shall see. Great progress. I feel very happy about that. I'm like, I love this color. Isn't it fun? It looks really purple today. There's no, like, the outside light is non-existent today. So, yeah. But down here, it looks so gray blue. This is the best color. I can't even tell you. It's so fun. Next is my Scotchbroom Wrap. I've also made some great progress on this. Oh, sorry. Let me put this, give you this info for the Wood Anemone. It is a size 5, 48.5 inches. Recommended ease is just 2 to 6 inches. That's a little, a little less, 1.5 inches for me. 3mm needles for ribbing, 3.5mm needles for lace, and 4mm for body. Now that I'm looking at it all together, I think that was a perfect call for what I needed to do between the lace and the body. I'm going to keep that in my back pocket for other makes too. And then that yarn is all Back Loop Yarn Co. in the colorway Ghouls. It is her cashmere sock. It's an 80-10-10. It's 80% superwash merino, 10% nylon, 10% cashmere, 400 yards for 100 grams. And the sari is 74% baby sari alpaca, 26% silk, 328 yards for 50 grams. And it's like one of my favorite combos. Just, it's so soft. It's going to be the most soft and luxurious yarn. And I'm hoping that holding the sari with the cashmere will keep the cashmere from getting so pilly, because the cashmere sort of like will lose its own natural halo. And yeah, and I just think like a fuzz will help. I mean, that will pill too a little. Like, I was wearing my Ashling for my filming the roundup, which if you didn't watch it, please watch my tank top roundup. It's for people who wear bras or just want their shoulders to have sturdy straps on their shoulders. So you don't have to wear a bra, I guess. But yeah, I like lifted my arm at one point and I was like, oh, I do have some pills inside of my, sorry does pill. Just for whatever that's worth. Okay, sorry, we're going back to my Scotchbroom Wrap, which is a test knit for Abbye and Selena from Wool and Pine Designs. I am making good progress. Like, really good progress. Let me give the details up front, since I'm going to clearly forget to do that. This test is due on May 17th. So I got 3-ish weeks to get it done. It's a size 5, which is 46 inches. The recommended ease is 0 to 4. It'll be like a -1 for me, maybe. And then I'm using 4mm needles for the body. I think I will go down a size, maybe 2. It might be a 3.5 for the wrap part, the waistband. And I am using Thistle House Yarns fingering, which we talked about this, I think, in the first time I talked about it. She really only has like a fingering, a DK, like there's no other versions of the bases. So this one is 100% 19.5 micron superwash merino, and it's a 3-ply. It's 438 yards for 100 grams, and it is in the colorway 10 Fathom C. It's an S on the S plied yarn, so just like the Rockies DK, it does this for my knitting style. It does this kind of like column look, so one side of my stitch is tighter than the other. It's just what happens with that. I'm not mad about it. You can kind of see it. Like, it kind of just looks more, yeah, you can see it. Also, do you like how my dog hair on there? Yep, that's Winter. She comes with me everywhere. Okay, so I'm connected. How exciting is that? Here is my progress keeper from last week, which is a little sheep. It's so cute. And this little sheep is on my left shoulder, which was the second shoulder. So I had already had the right shoulder done. Second shoulder was being worked. And then I finished that to match, joined the body. It's like really curled on here, but I have probably what, 2.5 inches of body done, and that's exciting. It feels great. I love that this blue has a lot of like very minor, it's like it's there's so much depth, but it's like very minor. So like from back here, it just looks blue, right? But as soon as you get closer to it, you can see all this like subtle variegation in it. Like, it's pretty, super pretty. Yeah. I kind of can't wait to join sleeves. I just finished my first ball of yarn. So, you know, I have 3 feet left or whatever. I didn't want to start a row because then I'd have to join a new ball of yarn. Anywho, I don't know. I want to work on sleeves really badly because I just think they're going to be so fun. But I know I need to slog through some more body before I do that. I decided where I was on the body is like just past sort of the overlap piece, like where it will sit overlapped on me. And so I just started in the body lessening my increases because I think I'm going to have to add depth, like a little bit of length, like maybe 1.5 inches or so. And based on number of rows and it's pretty cropped, like the version that they made, which would work really well over a skirt or dress, but I want to be able to wear this with pants, and I still wear high-waisted pants, but you know, I gotta like have enough back coverage so that I'm not showing a bunch of low back. That'd be awkward. So anyway, so I also added, I think 3 increases to pre underarm split, which I'm glad about. I did try it on and it fits great. Like I do have a tiny bit of space, but I don't want my underarm to be too tight. And also the lace part of the Scotchbroom, which is on the sleeves, is supposed to be sort of airy and light and a little bit loose at the arm size. So I didn't want it to be like right against my armpit. Anywho, I am going to, I think I'm going to, like I say slog, but just get through another like 10 or 15 body rows before I go to the sleeves, which is not that many in honesty. I mean, it's like 1 inch and a little bit. Maybe I should do like 20. Maybe I should do 20. But yeah, so I slowed down my decreases, which Abbye and Selena said was okay in the testnet chat. Just because you won't really notice it as much, but you do not want the sides to overlap. And again, because my waist is smaller than my bust, I'm just, you know, I want to make sure that we're good. So I do every other knit row now. For the increases, the construction of this is super fun. So it was an I-cord cast on, and then you do your back and then your fronts. And the fronts are picked up along the I-cord. The back has that little bit of ribbing, which is so nice. And the button band, or like the neckline, is done at the same time, and it is a very nice, it's actually just ribbing, but it looks so nice. I think just because it won't spread, there's no stitches on the other side, it almost mimics like a double knit button band, but you're not kind of dealing with any of that tighter, you know, it might be tighter or whatever than your regular stitches. So that's really fun. And so the waistband is also just like this. It's just a ribbed waistband, but because it's vertical, like it's imitating more of a double knit button band. That's what it really looks like. So I'm really excited to get there. A couple people are done their waistbands and everything, and they are so speedy. I'm not going to be that speedy, but I would like to be significantly further next week. Like I would maybe like a sleeve to be done. I would like a significant amount of the body to be done because I think that the waistband's gonna be a little bit of a slog. A couple other people said just like took them several nights to do, which again, how are they done if maybe they don't have 27 projects on their needles. If this was the only one, I could be a little further. I've been doing really good. I have not been like scrolling much on my phone, but I caught myself last night. As soon as I picked this up, I started scrolling a little, and I was like, why am I on my phone? And I was like, oh, right. I just need to get my mind focused on some stockinette for flat stockinette, really long rows of flat stockinette. No, it's fine. I started a new book, so then it was fine. That helped me a little. So the next one to talk about is my newest cast on. I told you I was going to cast this on last week. I really wanted to cast on 2 things this week. Honestly, I was going to do the Theo blanket too. It was going to be a week. I could not. I had to temper myself a little bit just because I was feeling stressed about how much I have, which honestly, my needles aren't that full. I do have a couple secret things you don't know about, but I do have a couple upcoming things I knew were tests. Lord help me. Tests I knew were coming up, and so I didn't want to overwhelm myself. So here is what I did pick up, which was my Sundial top. So this is a pattern by Iris H, who is Iris Makes. I do have an affiliate link. You can click below to get a discount on patterns. If you want to join her summer knit along, it is happening right now. This is what I am making for my summer knit along, and it's this very cutie little top. It is going until maybe the first week of July. Maybe it's June. I think I have the details below, but all the details are on her website. She's got a Discord. It hasn't been super active on there. I think, like, you know, people are just getting their yarn or casting on, and I'm going to post a picture of how far I am in a little bit. It doesn't look like much, and I at least want to do so I could do a real flat with my needles, but they're still a little bit, it'd be very tight. So I cast on the size 5, which is 44 inches in the bust. It's supposed to have 0 to 3 inches of negative ease. So that's 3 inches of negative ease for me, which is great. It is Explore Knits and Fibers yarn in the colorway Grapefruit, which was in the summer market last year. I don't know if it was around before that. Could not tell you, but that's when I got it. We as a group, I think there are 5 of us that got this color for tees or tanks. And that was the what we wanted to make, and that was in July. And I think Ariel's made hers, and she's the only one. So I said I would pick mine up to get also my little Knit with Friends next color knit all together. And yeah, I'm really liking it. It is a circular yoke with all of these fun, I mean, it's like a sundial, except for, unlike my Sunburst one, which was like knit inside out, that has the kind of elevated stitches. That's like a style for this sort of lined yoke, circular yoke thing. This one's not like that. It is actually just a broken rib in between, which is really fun. And I don't think I knew that looking at the patterns. I think maybe I kind of did, but I didn't actually like think about that until I cast it on, and I was like, oh, what is happening? This is fun. So there's a ton of short rows in here, which will be really nice because this is very close fitting. So it will be close fitting to my neck, but it won't be like pulling up and choking me because there's plenty of short rows in the back. And which go all the way to the shoulders because this is so close fitting. So I have like 3 more increases. So this really is, you know, just the itty bitty top part. It's not like gotten to the part that'll go over my shoulders yet, which is good. And the rate of increase is interesting because you do a bunch of rows and then you do two increases per stockinette column, which is quite a lot. I think they're pretty visible. They are visible in Iris's pattern too. You can't avoid in circular yokes, I think, that when you have a bunch, like, you know, all of the increases, like, you're gonna see them. That's just the thing. It's one of the reasons I like raglans, because that singular intentional line is really different. But I kind of like this because this spokes idea, right? You're not trying to hide these in a circular yoke. You are just truly picking them up inside of these columns, and the inside of the columns just like look like they're growing, and that looks great. So this is Cashmere Caverns fingering, which is an 80-10-10. I think I have the last yarn here. Hold on, I didn't bring the third skein up yet. Yeah, it's 80-10-10. It's 435 yards for 100 grams. It's a 4-ply. It's so soft. Not like my best color, but I'm actually really excited. This does look like a grapefruit. Like, it's such a good color for summer. So I'm really excited to get this. It's grown quite a lot pretty quickly. The rows are gonna be so many stitches. by the time I get to the split for sleeves. So I will be very grateful to be there, but I'm going to try to like kick through that very quickly, like in the next week or two. So I can just get to the body. I think will be pretty quick. What I do like is that, you know, I don't mind a stockinette body, but this is it's not something you have to memorize, right? Like you just read your knitting. You don't have to look at what the next row is. It's so easy to do. So it is kind of mindless, even though it's not just stockinette. So to be a tiny bit of attention, but I like that. That's like a really nice place for my brain to be, this sort of middle. So, and I am using I think this is just the second week I had it. This is my my tiny little Lazy Susan. This is by Can Be Crafty. She does have an Etsy shop, and I'll have more to share on that soon. But yeah, she's super kind and local to me, so that's fun. So here we are, the Sundial. I'm really excited to have this tea on my needles and just like to be using this yarn to have my make long make started, and I think I will crush that in the not so distant future because I want to have another tea done. Okay. Oh, I have a acquisition I forgot about because I kind of buried it here under my WIPs. I did buy, this isn't too loud, sorry. I did buy some yarn, but I bought it from a charity. So doesn't that just count as no yarn? So if you all know Gary Knits, Gary Rides, and his many auctions every year, they moved to a new platform. So I think he's just posting like when the updates are going to be and maybe like some teaser photos on Instagram. But now the auction is actually happening online, like on an auction platform, and it's way easier to use. Super good experience. Just throwing it out there. If you didn't like doing the comments and stuff through Instagram before, I think he's going to stick with this. He said it was a lot easier to admin as well. But what I decided to get is I bid on a couple of things, but I wanted this one. So I want this one. This is Roar, Spats, and Wool Mice. And I don't know if that's how you say it, but that's what I'm saying. And this is the Wool Mice DK. It's 100% wool in the color pine. And it's 468 yards for 200 grams. So it's, you know, 234. So a pretty normal DK weight yarn. It feels a little bit thinner than that, and it does look super twisted. So it actually kind of looks like Rocky's DK, like that super high twist. So I'm thinking it might do the same thing. Like I didn't pull out any strands of this to see what the twist is, but I'm thinking it might do that unbalanced twist for me again, which I don't care. Again, it's fine. But I got 3 skeins of this. So it's 6 skeins of DK, which will get me like not every sweater, but a bunch of different kinds of sweaters. I didn't weigh them yet, so they might be a little bit over also, which would be nice. That would give me a little bit more. I don't know what I'm going to make with it yet, but I really love that color, and I have plenty of things either like on my list or things I own patterns for, etc. Oh, actually, I did pick. I lied. I'm sorry. I was looking yesterday and there was one. I was really hoping it would be the yardage wise it would work, and I think it will. I want to make the Aurelia. And I think this would be the most beautiful Aurelia. So this is a pattern I bought during Sari's like winter sale last year. It's been out for a couple of years. It's an all over cable work, has like a fun honeycomb thing happening between fun bobble cable situations, which I think you can skip the bobbles, though this one I may not because they're really cute. Anyway, I am so excited. Secondly, talking about bobbles, I watched the tutorial Andrea Mowry put in the Daydreamer since I was considering casting it on. I just didn't do it. I have the yarn. It's all set up. I'm ready to go. I might cast it on this week for Lauren. But the bobbles that she does in this are with a crochet hook. And even better than the like crochet-esque bobble that happened in the Phaedra, because I think this really does sit up super, the way that she like closes it off, it really sits up as like a very true little bobble. And I don't mind doing them that way, having the crochet hook there, because it's probably gonna be way faster than a knit bobble. So cool. That is what I decided to make with it. So I needed to like put this in my list of decided yarns. I am free to change my mind, but I would like it to be decided. While we're talking about green, I would like to show you my spin, my current spin. So I started a spin, maybe it was just over the weekend actually. After I finished my last spin, which was the red and blue yarn, I wanted to do another 3-ply because I think I really enjoy the way the yarn feels. But that yarn did end up being, I was just looking for it. I don't know where it is. It's still here somewhere on my pile of things. It ended up being still pretty thin. I was just thinking to myself about spinning a little bit thicker. How can I get myself to do that without just adding more and more plies? One of the things about spinning your yarn a little thinner is that it takes so long to fill a bobbin, because I'm pulling out more and more and more yards of it than someone who spins a little bit thicker. Not that I need to get through them quickly, but I also would really love to have a 3-ply DK. How fun would that be? I don't know if I can get there. People do 2-ply DKs and I like don't understand. I can't get my fingers. It's very hard for me to get my fingers to make it thicker. I do have a default. I already have a default. I'm like, no, I got to break that. I need to start trying to go thicker. So here's my attempt at thicker. Yep, still looks pretty thin to me, but it does actually feel, here, let me pick just one of these to see if it'll do it. It does actually look plumper for sure. And I can't like give you a comparison because I don't have one next to me, but each of these strands is definitely thicker than what my typical spin is. Not a ton, but it is thicker. We're gonna work our way there. Because I also want to see what this turns out to be. I don't want to just go from like my thin to super thick, you know. I'd rather like bring this up in steps also, because I'm trying to make my hands a little more comfortable doing that. So this is, oh, and also this is my first, what do we want to call this? This is my first spin with some silk in it. So I wanted to do this sort of like a composition that was not 100% of something to see how I felt about it. So this is 80%. Actually, it doesn't say on here, but for some reason I think, I don't know, I'd have to look, but it says Polworth silk. I want to call it an 80-20, but maybe it's something different. I needed to get over the fear of like, what was it going to feel like? It's a little stickier. Like I can tell that it's in there. It does. I did part of these not prepped. So here's what I did. Which one did I do first? I think this is my first bobbin, and I split it into thirds and just spun the whole third. That felt challenging because even though I did pre-draft some of it, I was getting to these, it like wanted to pull along the strand that had more of the silk in it. Like, so parts of it were not, so it felt a little more challenging to go across the yarn than it normally does. So I did feel a little bit of a difference. Nothing that was like hard. I just had to be a little more conscious. This was my second, and I split that third into 3. I think I did. No, I split it in half. I split it into 4, split in half, and then I split those halves in half just to give myself something that was close to like what size I wanted to just be able to like pull it through quickly. That actually went really fast, and I liked doing that. So I may do that again for the second one, because also this is what the comb top looks like. And hold please, I'm juggling too many things. This is what the comb top looks like, which is just varying shades of green, but there's not that many like concentrated patches. The braid itself, like it's pretty varied. So it's not like we're going light, dark, lots of white. Like it just depends on where you are on the thing. So I didn't care about what end I was on. It's all green. It's not like red and blue or anything like that. So I just, yeah, that's what I did. But I liked that process, so I may just keep it these two and see how I like it, or I might split these two into two again for this is my last little third here. And then we will ply. And I think I'll do, you know, that plus finishing the yarn this weekend. So you have now seen it in all its stages. I did take a picture of the whole braid before I parsed it out, which I can put up here. And yeah, I'll take a picture of them in bobbins, and we'll have the sort of the scale of what happens to it and see what it looks like. I'm going to try this time also when I spin my 3-ply. I'm going to try, I move pretty quickly, but I am going to try to put a little less twist in it, just a little bit less, to see if I can like get the yarn to be relaxed as it is without any manipulation once I pull it off the nitty natty. Let's talk about books. I read 3 books this week. I started a new one. I'm still reading whatever the my next Wheel of Time. I think I only read like an hour of that this week, and I just need a little bit of a break. I'm gonna pick it back up. We'll be good. So the first book I read this week was called Little Thieves. This definitely was a Jess recommendation, though I've had it on my TBR since November. So maybe she recommended it to me way back in the day. I don't know. But it's a book by Margaret Owen. It is the first in a series, though I'm trying to think how this ended. Oh yeah, there's 3 of them and a 2.5. Okay, I understand. So yes, I'm actually very excited. Of course there's more, because I forgot how it ended. So this book is about Vanya, who is the daughter, the adopted daughter of Death and Fortune. She's the 13th kid of a 13th kid, and her mom says she's bad luck, and so she gives her away to Fortune and Death. It's a very interesting premise. It's very fairy tale-y for some parts of it, but also like she's just a person, and she is trying to essentially steal enough money to leave the kingdom so she does not have to become a servant to one of her godmothers, which Death and Fortune, who truly are gods of Death and Fortune, and come and go as they please. And they try to offer her help, but if they offer her help and she accepts it, then she'd become the servant to one of them. And anywho, she becomes a thief, stealing from nobles, and also is pretending to be a princess, and very many bad things are happening around her. There's a bigger, badder plot happening. It's very heisty kind of feeling, but also like murder mystery-y, and it's just so good. I really loved the cast of characters. So many imperfections, so much character growth, so many like realizations, and I think pretty good, as Sylvan would put this. There were appropriate escalations throughout the book. So it wasn't like there's no insta love, there's no flip of like now I'm a completely different person kind of thing. Like there's just appropriate moves and character changes. I forgot how the book ended, but now I remember, and it was excellent, and you should read this, and that's why there are going to be more, which is going to be very fun, actually. So the next one I read was, I'm going to talk about Starless Sea first. So Starless Sea is, I don't even know how many books she has. Let me look really fast. Yeah, so not that many other books, but so this is, the Starless Sea is by Erin Morgenstern. So she wrote The Night Circus, which I read years ago. I don't even know when I read that, like right after I graduated college, maybe. So like 2012, maybe 2011. Anyway, it was like such a moving book, and I like think I just read it like in a very like I physically read this, so like in a very short period of time, and I just really, really loved it. This one I started, and this book came out in 2019, so I probably started it last year in the summer, and then I DNF'd. I couldn't get into it, and I was eyeball reading it, and I just like, it took me too long, and it was a library book, and I just returned it. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I like this. So I decided to try it on Audible. I really enjoyed the idea of it. I don't know how much I loved it. It was fine. It's complicated. I mean, like, the premise is very interesting. It's stories within stories. The Starless Sea is a place that holds stories, and really the thread throughout it is like two concepts that are people. I don't want to tell you too much. Two concepts that are people who are in love trying to find a way around a curse. Sort of. I guess kind of a curse. Anyway, they're trying to find an ending to a story, and stories often don't have endings, right? Like, even when they're done, the characters are all continue. Like, it's not many stories you read where everybody's dead at the end, or that world could still be existing. Someone you haven't heard about could be existing, right? Like, that's kind of the lovely part about stories. So they're playing with that concept. There's a lot of nested stories within stories. People have books that they refer to where you are reading as they are reading them, or they are remembering part of the story, or they reference a story and you read that snippet of story while they're in the book. Yeah, I don't know. It's not even like that it was super complicated. There were just a lot of like strange things happening. The timeline is a little wacky on purpose. It was okay. Yeah. I'm glad I finished it, because I was like curious to know what was going to be happening, because I really did not read very much of it. I probably only read like 15% to start. Things started to get interesting, but I was like, it's too slow. The beginning is a bit slow. It does pick up, and like tons of stuff happens. I don't know. It was okay. Yeah, it was okay. That's all I have to say about it. Sorry, not a glowing review there, but that's okay. And I'm going to give a glowing review to a much dumber book now, but I'm allowed to do that because this is my podcast. So the next book I read is the first of the Big Shots series from Tess Bailey. Romance. This is a purely modern romance book, and I have to tell you, I died laughing when I actually got this from the library. So I was in Target a few weeks ago with my husband, and we were going past the checkout, and there were a couple of books like at the end cap of one of these, and I saw this Tessa Bailey book, and I was like, oh, I didn't know she had a new book out. Like, let me snap a picture of it so I can put it on my TBR. I did this. I looked nothing else up. I just know that I like her writing style. I like her love stories. I like how spicy they are. I like, most of the time she's like, you know, she's 5 stars for me. So I got this from the library, and the very beginning of it, I realized, like, I honestly, I didn't read any single thing about this before I started it, and I realized that the fangirl is a fangirl of a PGA player, like a golf player, and I died laughing. Like, I had to stop. I like actually laughed out loud, and then I told my husband, and he was like, golf romance. I didn't know that was a thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, me neither. He is a big golfer. It's like a big thing in our life. I know I've talked about this a little bit. Like, we have a golf simulator in our living room, which can be taken down. He golfs every week. We watch a lot of golf. Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. I wasn't expecting it, but it was so good. And not even because of the golf, because quite frankly, some of her interpretations and explanations on the golf were not really practical or feasible. But the story is great. It's about like a down on his luck, used to be superstar or like young, a lot of promise golfer who has gets in his head. And golf is a super mental game. It's and not that all sports aren't, but like being a solo sport where it's hard. So they oh, but he has like one fangirl who won't quit him, and many funny things ensue. And obviously they fall in love, and obviously it's excellent, and obviously it's spicy, and the spice was perfect, so good. So I had a really good time. I had a good time reading that. I just like made myself giggle so many times. It was really, really good. So I highly recommend if you need a kind of one of the things I think I just love about Tessa Bailey is like her characters who, when they fall in love, there's also generally like a lot of fun banter and other things that happen in their relationships, and I just like really enjoy that. I just think they feel like more realistic because it's not just like single tone, like there's like a little bit of nuance, even though these are just like, you know, the whole thing is like this little snapshot of them falling in love. The next one is going to be about a hockey player though in this, because they like alluded to that fact, and also I think it comes out this year. I don't know, maybe in the fall. That would be so exciting because I'm like really excited to read that one. You meet that character like one time in this book, and I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. And yeah, so then the next book I started reading was A Study in Drowning by Reid, and I am not very far in this. I'm not going to give you much of an update except for I'm enjoying it so far, and the world seems pretty complicated that they're in. There are just like, it's one of those books where I think I need to go read a quick synopsis, not a synopsis of the story, but like what would be on the jacket cover, because the way everything is spelled, the way everything is said, like there's a lot of words that sound similar, but I know that they're like different, and I'm just like, it would probably be helpful for me to have like a little key of like what some of the main people's like names are, or the lands, because there's some things that sound pretty similar. So that's what I have to say about it. So far, so good. Intriguing concept, and yeah, I'll give you some more info. Okay, now that we're done with books, let's talk about test knitting. This happens to me. It comes in waves, and I need to stop going on Instagram. But I'm in a bunch more tests. Oh, you guys, I'm like not going to make my under 20 this year. Maybe I will. Maybe I just won't do any this fall so I can get done more of my 12. But I am very excited to tell you that I said this during my tank top roundup, that I am going to be making the Florence Handmade ribbed camisole. That test is going to start when she's back from vacation, so I think sometime next week. And then I also am doing another semi-secret test for Bridget, which I'll be able to talk about very soon. And that's for an occasion also, but that's got a pretty long timeline, so I'm not worried about it. And then I am also... yeah, you should roll your eyes at me. I am also signed up to do the Market Henley for Claire Jackson at Perfectly Knotted. And that one, Claire and I have been talking on Instagram for weeks about, because I saw her when we did the EKF pop-up at La Mercerie. She came down from Victoria, which is not a super far trek, right? Like, I mean, it's far, but it's not. It's just a couple hours. And she came down with Coley from Paisley Knits, and I chatted with both of them for quite a while when we were like waiting in line. And Claire and I were talking about upcoming patterns, and I don't even know if we talked about this one, but like right after, she had a story on Instagram, and then I was like, this is what I want to make. So I have been thinking about this. I really wanted to make like a waffle stitch something, And I don't know why. I think it's because Katie has one that is actually from Alicia Plummer. And I really like it, but it's a DK weight one. And I just like, I didn't have yarn I wanted to use for it. And I've been trying to come up with the perfect pattern for this yarn. I'm not guaranteeing that this is the yarn I'm using, because it's a little bit busy for this pattern, but it's an all over waffle stitch Henley. So it has got 3 buttons at the top, which she just like the depth, all of the things. It just looks like the most cozy and lovely, perfect thing ever. I'll be knitting the size that's, I think I'll be knitting the size that's 52 inches. So it'd be very similar to like this fit. It's like an oversized, cozy, whatever knit. And I have plenty of yarn to make it in this. This is Flock from EKF. It is their Flock colorway from last year. I don't know that it'll be back this year. I don't know if they'll have something different this year. It's the combination of all of their tonals that are in the Seattle collection. It's absolutely lovely. I think one of the things I like about the idea of using this, even in that like very textured thing, is because that texture is very predictable. It's all over. It's exactly the same. It's like, you know, makes like little waffles. This will still really, like, I think this will really shine in that. I think variegateds look really nice when you have a little bit of texture in them and not just stockinette. I think they look great in stockinette too, but I think like they can shine in a little bit of texture. And even though, yeah, you won't be able to see my waffle stitch quite as clearly, like, I think it'll be fine. I'm going to swatch in the waffle pattern to see what I think first. This is the one I'm leaning towards though. Mostly because I just really want to use it also. That's an impetus. The other yarn I could use is, I don't have a pattern picked out for this linen quill, and I think that would also work really well. But again, this is really dark to have in that stitched pattern. I don't know that it's going to look dramatically different than having this. The only other one I could do, I don't know if this like fits the vibe, but I have enough of this also, which is an old Beachy Breeze Fibers, who's now Clockwork. And actually Sam is going to be in the test. And this is her boardwalk sock. So it's superwash merino and nylon. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think for the coziness factor of it, like I'm still leaning Flock. Because it's not really a summer knit. Like I would rather reserve this and this for summer knits, because this is a linen blend and this is a summer color. It's just things in my brain. Do I need to be doing 3 more test knits right now? Like, no, absolutely not, because there's also some things you don't know about, and I've got to test out my needles, and you know, but I really want it to, this is on my second test for Claire, and I really want it to be, I want to have it. It's like, that's like something that is, I think, a hole in my wardrobe is a Henley. I think like it just, I don't even have any regular Henleys, and I just really, really want to have it. So I can do whatever I want. That's the answer. It's a little challenging that it's a fingering weight long sleeve right now when I want to get into fingering weight t-shirts, but also I'm glad it's fingering weight, because I would like, that's what I'd prefer to be having and wearing right now. Which is like one of the reasons I grabbed this to wear today, because it's actually kind of chilly in my office. It's not a super nice day here, but it's just what I wanted. I wanted to gravitate towards something lighter feeling. So right as I finished my Wood Anemone, that is a fuzzy sweater, but I knew I was going to probably set that down until the fall, and that is just, it's fine. That's quite all right. So I have a lot of things happening, obviously, a lot more cast. I don't have the pattern for any of those tests yet, but I know that I'm in them. So they are all coming shortly, maybe this week. Like I may cast them on before next podcast. It really depends on what day I get the pattern. And it's not quite clear when any of them will arrive in my inbox. But I would like to get a significant amount of some of these other things really pushed out before then. I still may cast on the Daydreamer, so I have that started for Lauren, even though it might like take a little bit of a back seat. But I would like to get my Wood Anemone pretty far along this weekend, and my Scotchbroom pretty far along this week to weekend. And I think that will have to be more of my like concentrated when I'm not tired, the Wood Anemone as my desk project, and then throw in some flowers here and there, you know, just like throw a flower in. The nice thing is the actual flowers I have to do, since I don't have that many left, they don't take very long, and that's like a really good bite-sized project for me to do sometimes, to like in between two knitting things, to like cleanse the palette. So I'm just gonna keep, that's what I'm gonna keep doing, and we shall see what else pops up. I think all of the tests are long enough that I will be able to sort of, and I'm not going to cycle through like test and test and test. I'm going to have to cast them all on at once, but I do think I'm going to be able to like finish a couple things and then cast them on without like panicking that I don't have it on the very first day. The Margaret Henley I may prioritize, just because with it being a fingering weight full sleeve sweater, I'm going to need a little bit more time. The Florence tank top, the Handmade by Florence tank top, is, I think it's still a 6-week time from whenever we get the pattern, and I just think it's gonna go super quick. It's simple, it does have texture, but I'm really excited for that one. So, and I'm not decided on yarn for that, but I really may make that my matching to my Calm Down cardigan. I'm going to try to swatch with that and see if it works. It may be too thin because I think it's a fingering weight, and that's like a really light fingering weight. If it's too thin, then I have plenty of things. I may pick one of these alpaca linens that I have here. TBD. Okay. Yes. So those are my testing highlights. I have some thoughts on testing that I think I'd also like to share in a supplemental non-regular video, because I've had some questions over the last few months. How do you get in a test knit? What is testing? How do you get picked? I would like to share some information on that. So I think I'm going to do like a short video on just like my 2 cents on testing in the very near future. So look out for that. But also I got a couple other requests for roundups, some really fun ones, 2 of which I have started bundles that I will be, you know, adding to and thinking about. One is work appropriate, which is so broad, right? Like that's a really broad ask, but also I have ideas on it. And I think there are sort of sections, right? A lot of us Zoom meet, and maybe that's not as, you don't need as much. But if you're really going to a business casual setting, I do think that your sweater choice, you know, I have thoughts on it generally, and also specifically for certain things. Like I think certain yarn choices and certain types of patterns will probably get more wear in an office setting and be like more appropriate general, like for the general. That's totally a general thing. Everybody has their own fashion sense, and everybody has their own, you know, spin on things. Like there's certain things I wouldn't wear or feel comfortable if I was in like a business casual setting that other people would totally think is great for business casual. It's a very broad topic, but I do have some thoughts that I would like to share about that. And also somebody asked me for patterns that feature one special skein that are not single skein, like scarves or socks. That's actually a really fun one and a little hard to do. This is one of those patterns. You can get away. You don't even use a full fingering weight skein to make this in every size, which is what I would do. I do think it's hard because if you do color work for some of these, like the biggest sizes, maybe it wouldn't work for. So it's like, do I include those? Do I not include those? I'm not sure. So I'm kind of just feeling out. And this may be a smaller roundup of just like, hey, here's like the 6 or 10 that I think are the best and would work for every size. or I just give you some more general information on, here's like some that would work for you for different things. Also, I mean, if you get right down to it, a special skein in a garment could be anything ever. You could change any garment to feature a special skein with stripes, or your, you know, a highlight color, your finishing edges, you know. But I do think there's some that make your special skein sing a little more than others. So we'll talk about those. And I'm not sure when I'm going to do another roundup. It'll be a couple of weeks, but I will do them pretty soon. And if you haven't watched my sleeveless one, please go watch it, give it a like. I just think it's a fun, I got a lot of really positive comments from it, and I just think like it is a topic that, you know, maybe it's pretty niche and not everyone's gonna relate to it, but it's definitely something that I had a hard time finding them all. And yeah, just sharing the love out there. That's all for me today, everybody. I hope that you had a good time hanging out with me. I always love hanging out with you guys, and I can't wait to hear about what you're working on. Tell me below. If you have questions about testing you want me to cover in the upcoming video, please let me know. And yeah, otherwise, coming very soon, as in next weekend. Can you believe this month is going to be over in a matter of days? Next Friday is going to be our cast on for the Emily Curtis Megan Hip knit along. I don't know what my hashtag is going to be. I got a couple of really good suggestions. My husband was trying to actually help me think of this, because he's like, it's got to be shorter. You got to be able to remember it for a picture. And I was like, you're right. So I'm the front runners right now was maybe like Gently Chaotic Mess Knit Along, like KAL. It would be fun. I'm going to ask Emily also if she has any thoughts and opinions on it. She's traveling again, but yeah, I can catch her on Instagram usually. And yeah, so if you haven't picked your pattern up from her, please go do that. If you would like to join, also please let me know, and I will start adding people. I can send out invites to Discord, but actually I'll probably just pop it below the Discord so we can get people excited now. That means I have to make one. I'll do that today. So fun. Okay, that's an exciting thing coming at you. Please join the Discord if you would like to. The link will be below. So there we go. New news. Editor Megan will make sure that gets in there. I will talk to you all next week, and have a super lovely weekend. Or whatever day that you're watching this. I can't wait for everyone to come chat with me in that Discord. Now I'm excited about it. Okay, I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.